What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here tonight with a review for The Real Housewives of Dallas. This is season number 4. It is episode number 4, and it's titled Trash Talk. So, you guys, this video might not be like super long because the episode this week was kind of a filler episode. It just didn't give it didn't give much to it. So, without further ado, you guys, we're gonna just go ahead and just jump into the video. Alright, you guys, so the episode, it opens up, we're still in Mexico at Carrie's house, and it's the next day. So they're talking about the day's events. They're gonna work out, they're gonna run up and down Carrie's stairs in the house, which those stairs did look very steep. And when I saw them run up and down them, I'm like, ooh, my fit behind, I don't know if I would actually be able to do that. And so I can't really 100% blame Leanne, because Leanne was like, she's not going to join. She's talking about, the Botox and the fillers might show her that she's young, but she's old at heart. So then, Carrie is having a conversation with Brandy about the conversation that Leanne had the night before about Leanne, blaming her issues on, her upbringing. And, Brandy is saying the same thing that I'm kind of thinking. When it comes down to Leanne, and I actually do like Leanne. I've had conversations. I've talked to Leanne on Twitter. But when it comes down to Leanne, I do feel like Leanne does, when it comes down to her she makes excuses for the way that she was, because you were absolutely rude when you got there. Yes, Carrie said that that's her room, but I mean, it's her house. So that's her saying, basically that was her saying, this is my room that I'm staying in. And then you took it as she didn't want her to stay in the room with her. When she made a sign, it was you and her in the room together. I think it was Brandy and Deandra in the room together, and it was Stephanie and Cameron in the room together. So Leanne, like I said, she makes some excuses. And again, I know people be like, Leanne, I know people cape for Leanne. And I don't want people to think that I don't like Leanne, because I really do enjoy Leanne, and I like Leanne. But I got to call bullshit where bullshit is. And Leanne was, being full of shit. So, I do like Carrie. Carrie is very fun and down to earth. I love her fun spirit. She's a good time, and I love that about her. So then once they finish the working out, they go to a polo match. So, the girls had to go pee. So they went behind, like a little trailer, and they, pee. And then that left Deandra to talk to Leanne. And Deandra was telling Leanne, like, hey, Carrie was offended about what happened last night. And then Leanne said she wasn't aware of that. And I'm like, really? You weren't aware that she was offended? Like, you could just clearly tell that she was visibly upset, but you weren't aware that she was offended. If that's what Leanne wants to say, I mean, I'm letting Leanne have that, but come on, Leanne. You could clearly tell that girl was not happy with everything that happened. She called you negative, which you were being negative. And I know people probably will say, no, she wasn't being negative. How would you feel? I wouldn't feel no type of way, because number one, I didn't pay for the trip. Number two, it's someone else's house. Number three, when I come to someone else's house, I don't try to dictate or tell them anything that, I don't be like, if you say, hey, I want you to sleep here, I'm like, shit, fine, it's a bed. It's a bed. And I'll sleep on the floor. I'll sleep in the closet. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to complain about anything. Now, I might, I'm not, and even about food, I won't complain about that. I'll just be like, I am a bit of a picky eater, so there are a lot of things that I don't eat, unfortunately. And I would just say that, like, and I don't, I would say I'm not trying to be mean or rude, but there are just a lot of things in this that I don't eat. And that would be that. But I wouldn't do the things that Leanne did. I did think the things that Leanne did was very rude. You might disagree with me. That's fine. We can move on. Now, once they got to the polo event, they had a good time. You could clearly tell, because they were all visibly drunk, with the exception of Leanne. I don't think Leanne was drunk. I don't think Cameron was drunk, but I'm not surprised that Cameron wasn't drunk. Cameron is a snotty person. But, they having a good time. Yeah, I mean, it was just, this episode is really filler. Like, it just really wasn't much to this episode. But we did see where, Stephanie and Brandy had a conversation, and they were talking about Leanne at the dinner table. Well, not at the dinner table, but at the table the night before. How she kept bringing up, her attempted suicides. And it made Stephanie feel some type of way. It had a negative reaction to Stephanie. And I can completely understand that. I get where Stephanie was coming from, because when it comes to Leanne, it does feel like Leanne does, always bring this up to, to shift blame or something. Be like, oh, the reason why I act like this is because of my troubled childhood. In which I'm not saying anything. I'm not negating Leanne's childhood. What I am saying is, like, that Stephanie has had issues where she said she tried to commit suicide. Why would you bring that up in that situation? The whole thing didn't have it had nothing to do with anything. So I was completely confused as to why Leanne brought it up. And I definitely understand why Stephanie felt the way she felt, especially with Stephanie saying, she's still struggling even after what happened last season where she revealed that stuff. She's still struggling. So I'm on Stephanie's side, and I feel so bad for Stephanie. Like, I really did. I just don't like the fact that Leanne brought that up. Leanne could have said at the table, Carrie, I wasn't trying to offend you. Nope, scratch that. She could have said, Carrie, I'm not trying to offend you. That's not my intention. And I do sincerely apologize for offending you, not if I offended you, because that's not an apology. That's a half-ass apology. You don't say if I offended you. You say I offended you and I apologize. Even if you don't feel that you offended the person, acknowledge that they were offended and apologize. That's how an apology works. So I do agree with Brandy that Leanne does use her past as an excuse for her not for her questionable behavior. Put it that way. That's so. Again, if people disagree, cool. I say what I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. Again, I like the girls with the exception of Cameron, so I am very, I'm very biased when it comes to these girls with the exception of Cameron. I just don't like Cameron, and we're gonna talk about Cameron in a little bit. But so then we see the girls. They head to this place called the Copa, which looks like a big, huge meditation bowl, and they're gonna meet a healer there. I didn't get the healer's name, and while they're there, they just meditate and release all the negative energy that has been surrounding the group thus far. So we're gonna move on, you guys. All right, and then lastly, they go out to dinner. So they go to dinner, and the drinks are what? Continuing to flow. I'm like, oh, I know they toe up. So Deandra addresses the comment about Leanne being negative. And, Leanne is like, you know what, Carrie, how about you and I just have a side conversation? And I was all here for that, like, yes, have a side conversation with Carrie. But no, Deandra, who's, clearly drunk, says, no, Carrie, sit your ass down. And Leanne, you sit here and you talk to her in front of the group. And a part of me, I guess, I guess what she was trying to say is, so that way, everything is out on the table, so you can't say that, oh, well, Stephanie said this, and Carrie said this, and da-da-da, XYZ said this. So I got that part, but I do believe that Leanne and Carrie should have had that conversation to the side, because it was Carrie who was offended, and no one else at the table was offended. So I do think that they should have had that conversation to the side. And I think Leanne, being a sober one, should have said, you know what, Deandra, calm down. Me and Carrie, we're just gonna go right here. You guys will be able to see us, and we're gonna have a conversation. But no, that didn't happen. And then things got a little bit heated from there. But Leanne did apologize to her, and to me, it actually kind of came off like a half-ass apology, to be quite honest with you. And because she's talking about how she just feels alone with this group, and I'm like, oh, okay, Leanne, if you say so. If you say so, girl. So then Cameron talks about, someone should have said something about the room assignment. And I'm just sitting here like, wait a minute. But Leanne is the one who brought up the room assignment in the first place. Leanne is the one that said, oh, I'll room with Cam. And you didn't say, oh, Leanne, but, we're in her house, so she would like it if you would room with her. And I'll still room with Stephanie, and, Deandra will room with Brandy. But no, you didn't say that. And I'm just like, that is so... But when it comes to Cameron, nothing she says or does surprises me, because she's a big hypocrite in my personal opinion. But she was talking about everybody else is quiet as a church mouse. You were too. So were you. So, and then she's talking about how, in the group she felt like it's cliques. I don't necessarily feel like it's cliques in the group. I feel like people get along. Brandy and Stephanie are very good friends. Brandy and Deandra are good friends. Leanne and Brandy are working on a friendship, and Stephanie and Deandra are friends. Stephanie's cool with Leanne. Like, everybody's cool, so it's just you that I feel like is in a clique with Leanne. I do feel that way, and Brandy said that as well. Like, I do feel that way. If you don't agree with that, not a problem. I have my opinions. Everybody else has theirs. Um. So then, they kind of get into it a little bit. And, Brandy tells Cameron she says, fuck you, and goes, suck a dick. And, Cameron calls her trash. And I'm like, she's trash because she told you, fuck you? Fuck you, Cameron. Literally. Fuck you. And my problem with Cameron is, let's see how I can put this and try to be nice about my problem with Cameron. My problem with Cameron is the fact that, she lives in, Highland Park. She's in the upper echelon of Dallas. And it's kind of like she's up here and everybody else is down here. But my thing with Cameron is, you didn't grow up here in Dallas. You didn't grow up in that circle of the Highland Park people in Dallas. So basically, you're an outsider who came in and landed court. And you got pregnant by him and you got married to him. You could have got married to him first or got pregnant, whichever one. Don't really 100% give a fuck. But my problem is, you didn't grow up like this. So bring it down a few pegs, because you're no better than anybody in this world. And I just can't think. That's the only thing about her that I don't like, is that she's so snotty, so sedity. Like, it's kind of like she looks down on other people. And everybody else on the cast, very relatable. I tweet Stephanie a lot. I comment on her Instagram, and she always responds to me. They all always respond. Leanne has always responded to me, even if I've said something that Leanne didn't agree with, because there was something last season that I said that Leanne didn't agree with, and she tweeted me. Now, mind you, Leanne had to go troll through the hashtag of Real Housewives of Dallas to find my tweet. But she found my tweet, and she responded to me, and she and I had a conversation about what it was. I forgot what it was. I think it had something to do with Carrie Duber. I can't remember. But she and I had a conversation about it, and we talked about it on Twitter. We didn't go, it wasn't like nothing bad. I told her my side, what I felt, and she, told me had her conversation with me. So she's had a conversation with me. I've had a conversation with Deandra, Brandy, even Carrie Duber. I've had some conversations with Carrie Duber. I never talked to Tiffany, because I didn't really like Tiffany, to be quite honest with you. It was just something about Tiffany that I just didn't connect with. But everybody has talked to me, good, bad, or indifferent, with the exception of Cameron. And she doesn't have to talk to me. I don't really care about Cameron, but I just feel the way I feel about her. I feel like she thinks that she's so up here and everybody else in Dallas is down here below her. That's just how I feel. You can agree, disagree. I have to be honest with you guys. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry, but that's just how it is, plain and simple. So after that is all over with, Leanne tells Deandra, like, let's go home, and she's trying to have a conversation with Deandra. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know what Deandra's talking about. Does Deandra even know what Deandra's talking about? So they get back to the house, and Carrie goes to talk to Brandy about how she feels about this. Is the second time that Cameron has called her trash. So then, they go talk to each other, and Cameron gets mad and storms off, and I'm just like, okay, this is so stupid to me. It makes zero sense. But you guys, that was the episode. Be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and share the video, and I will see you guys later.